Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. I am coming to you from beautiful Alberta, Canada, and I have a fall process video for you today. I'm going to use the Autumn Toile collection, and I think you're really going to like how it turns out. So let's get this camera turned around and get to work. So this is the Autumn Toile paper collection. Toile refers to these kind of tone-on-tone pictures that you get that repeat themselves. In the old days, they would be on pillows and curtains and stuff. I think it's quite old, like many years old, but I know it made a comeback when I was first married, which is around 25 years ago in 2002, like 2002, sorry. And so these ones are a bit of more of a play on it. They have more color to them, but I think the original toile was mostly tone on tone like this. There was only kind of one color. I for sure want to use this paper here because I went out on an excursion to find some pumpkins with my friend. So I'm definitely going to be using this one. And I would love to use this one as a solid orange, but I think that the fox pattern is going to be too distracting. So I would like to bring in a different orange. I do have this one. It's the same color, Cajun Craze, and this paper is from the Sweet Days of Autumn paper pack from last year. But I also want to use some of my Close to My Heart stash up. And there was this Cozy Up paper packet that I got on sale right at the end when Close to My Heart was shutting down. Everything went on super sale. And this here has all little fall sayings in it. And I thought this would work well. It's not quite the right orange, but that is fixable. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. So for sure, I'm going to be using this sheet. And then you've heard before on my heather layout that I just did, I used this sheet and I love it. I'm going to be using it again. I love the tone on tones in here. I think you could make really awesome layouts with these three papers. And then even just cut out a few trees or have a little bit of this here and there, maybe flanking on the sides or on the top and bottom. So I think we can have a lot of fun with these papers, but I'm going to start with these ones. And I think I'll take this one too, just in case I need more than one. So you can see I've pre-planned things a little bit here. I've got, these pictures originally had a white border on them and I decided to take it off and make them in a grid style layout. So this one will be, let's measure it here, 3.5 by 5.5. And this one is 2.5, just over 2.5 by just over 3.5. So you get kind of the idea. It doesn't really matter the sizes of your pictures because you can fill up your grid with extra pieces of paper. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to cut it down and it's going to just be a little extra piece in here. So let's slide it under for now so I don't have to cut it. So I gutted this one out because I do know that I'm planning to cover almost the whole background. So I'm going to add in these pieces on the top here because they're quite busy. So I don't want to overlap pictures onto them because my pictures are quite busy as well. And I'm going to bring these down a little bit. So I'm going to do a layout where the pictures are centered in the middle on a grid pattern and then the embellishments can stay to the outside. I find with busier, more colorful pictures, it can be nice to work with them that way. So I think I want this to come down each side and it's easiest, I'm not going to use both sheets, I'll cut one, but it's easiest to look at it this way to get a feel for if I like it. I've matted these ones already, so this is going to be the other side of the layout and I want it to take the same footprint. So I think it's going to go something like this. And then I have this picture here. This is a funny layout and I'll tell you the story after, but this picture here, we were like, I'm making a face because it hurts so much to look into the sun. It was so sunny and we were trying to keep our eyes open for the picture so we weren't squinting too horribly. But then when we took a break, we were like, oh, my eyes hurt so much. So that was my face there. And I just wanted to remember the laughs that we had. And we had some more laughs too. So something like that. This will have white around it as well. And I don't think I want a gap here like that. So I think I'm going to tuck that. So I have a couple open spots. I think a title could go here, but I also want to patch in some more of this orange. So it's in 3 places. So I have one cut here And you'll see something a little different about this orange paper. You can see that it's not the same color as this one. And I'm going to show you right away how I did that. These are the backs to these. This is the Peaceful Garden one, and I love to use them as a shield when I'm inking, and I want to use my same desk space. So this is how I changed the color of this paper. So here's the original color, close to my heart color, called Cranberry, and then I've got Paprika, and I've got a blending brush, and I'm just going to mix them a little bit, and I'm just going to start inking on here. So I'm dipping in both of these inks and trying to match that pumpkin color, and I'm just going to keep blending onto them until it looks right to me. This is a really great way to be able to use your stash, but also have it mix well with papers that are different colors from a different company. I know lots of us have a huge close to my heart stash, and I really want to be able to use that. So this is a great way that I can blend my papers together. I'm also going to ink around the edges with espresso. That's close to my heart espresso, but I believe it's very close to the same color as Stampin' Up's brown espresso ink. So right here you can see how much you can change the shading. That bottom one is a slightly different color, but it is still a little bit wet, the one I'm putting down right now. So once it dries up, it'll look probably almost exactly the same as the other two. I do want a little bit of cream trim around the outside of this layout, so I want to gut out this piece in the middle. I've measured, and I need a piece that is at least 7.5 by 8.5. So it will work to gut it out at 1 inch all the way around. And actually, I could do it a little bit shorter. That will also work, and that will make things easier on me. So I'm just making sure that my top little panel piece there will be able to be glued completely down, and then I'll cut what I need for matting the other photos out of the center here. This way I don't have to use 4 sheets of cream colored paper. I can just use 2. So you can see here why I left that wider gap at the top, just so that I have more background to attach my other pieces of paper to. So now I have this inner piece that I'm going to use for a mat, and I'm going to glue my pictures down first and then cut it. It would probably have been smarter to cut it first. My goal here is to have them the same height, but I'm not too concerned about the width. So the right side of the page is the width of the picture mat is going to be longer, no, I should say wider, sorry, than on the left side of the page. The tiniest pictures were originally 2 by 2, but I did cut them a little bit narrower in order for them to fit 3 across 4 by 6 with little spaces. So I made them a little narrower. So they're probably 2 or 1 3/4 by 2, something like that. You can see there I drew a little pencil line to make sure they're going to be the exact same height. And trimming close around the edge. I only want a tiny little white border around and between these photos. Now to finish it off, I am going to use some inking around this paper. I think fall really goes well with inking the edges of paper, but also it is more forgiving. It kind of hides any imperfections. So you can see now that you've got a grid style to the center of your, essentially it's a 24 or 12 by 24 layout. I tried a few different pieces of cardstock and I settled on gray granite. I really did like a pine or a green as well, but I decided I wanted to do some stamping around my embellishment clusters, so this is a better choice. All right, so we're glued down. Part of the reason I put it down to the bottom here is because then I didn't have to use another piece of this paper. I could just use these 2 small pieces and it kind of gives you the idea. I did some stash diving from my close to my heart stamps. Part of the reason that I did that is because I have ordered all paper recently, and I haven't ordered any of these pumpkin stamps or fall stamps. I have so many fall stamps and I feel like I should use them. So I did some stash diving, and I'm going to use this piece right here. This leaf here kind of reminded me of these leaves. And then I do want to use the autumn banner title. And probably this circle here. So one of the cards that I noticed on the website had circles with images from the papers cut out, the fox paper and the pheasant paper. And I thought, what a good idea to make embellishments. Then I don't need my own pumpkin stamps. So I here's my circles, and I thought this one looks really nice to cut out this little grouping of pumpkins. And then maybe I'll try to cut out this little grouping of the acorns or something else as well. All right, so once I had that cut out, I actually have like kind of a torn edge circle that I cut out as well. Some people may have the deckled circles. That's not what this is, but it's close. It's very similar. And then I layered this paper on top, and then I cut out, if you look on the paper, sometimes on the edge, it's cut off. So I just cut out up to this leaf here. I fussy cut this out, and then that way you can stack it on top and make it kind of look like it's coming up. And then I found this in my stash, and the Good Times is from here. The banner is from my stash, and I'm gonna use that for an embellishment there. Doesn't that look good? But I feel like it needs something more, and I thought some leaves might be nice. So I did stamp out a few of these leaves, and I want to show you how they turned out. So this is what it looks like, and I find it's not quite right for this layout. It looks okay, but I was wondering if I could ink this in a little bit stronger, that if it would look more like these, mimic these leaves a little more up here. This is the backing paper from the paper pack again, and I'm gonna bring my paprika, my pine, and my cranberry again. So this is a very forgiving process because the colors don't have to match exactly. This color matches quite good. I stamped these leaves in the pine, and then I rubbed a little brown on them, and I think it matches fairly good. So I'm gonna use these. And when I cut these out, I didn't use the thin cuts that come with, because as you can see, it leaves a little border here. Instead, I just cut them out by hand, and I cut right along the edge of the stamping, and you're gonna see how this is gonna work out. So we're just gonna blot off a little bit just so you don't get a big blob right away. You just wanna build up that color slowly. I'm just gonna show you on one, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I want to speed this up for you just a little bit because it takes me a few minutes, but I do want you to see all of how I did it. And I'll tell you a little bit about this day. My friend and I went for a drive for about 40 minutes away. There is a place called the Jungle Farm, and they grow all kinds of pumpkins. They're also a U-pick, and they happen to still have fall strawberries ready. And so we picked a bunch of strawberries as well. I'm going to do that on a separate layout. I wanted to put it on this layout, but it just didn't work out. So we each picked a couple baskets of strawberries, about 10 pounds, and it took us longer to walk to the field than to pick the strawberries. That's how plentiful that they were. And then we asked the lady to take a picture of us, and I have a funny little story about that picture, and I'll let you know that at the end of the video. So here is my finished leaf. I think it's just beautiful and matches the background paper perfectly. I also cut out 3 of these leaves from the Gallery Blooms standalone dies as well. And I'm going to have 3 main areas of embellishments, and one is going to contain the title, which I'm setting up over here on this side. I am going to pop those each up. And I do realize now, well, I realized at the time that I had a spelling mistake. I don't know why I had 2 A's in there, but I had to look a bit. I had lost the M, but here it is. So I am going to have this little banner that says autumn, and then I have a bunch of words. I'm a collector of words for thin cuts, and I have the word moments. So moments is going to make an appearance later and go on that orange strip underneath. You can see that I did cut on the right-hand side there a circle out of the patterned paper with some leaves and acorns, and then I overlapped it because part of it was missing because it was overlapping on to the other circle. I also cut a circle that says love this, and I stamped it in pine, and I'm just going to overlap that onto there so that you can't see the part that's cut off. I was thinking about leaving this strip long, but I decided I didn't like it. I want it to fit in that footprint, so I marked it with a pencil and cut it down so it would fit. I'm just going to arrange these leaves, trying to distribute all the colors and different parts of the embellishments to each area. I've popped up this love this, and I also will pop up the what a beautiful day circle in the green pine on the other side. And I like how they mimic each other a little bit, but they are different. I'm truly very excited about how these leaves turned out because I really felt like they were appropriate for the page, but they just weren't full enough texture. And I've been struggling with that a few times when I've used them because they're very distressed in how they stamp. And so that makes them seem busier than they are. And so inking them in the background like this really gives them a more solid look, and I really like that. I did put dimensionals on each of those letters from autumn, and I was careful to put them towards the top of the flag so that they would all be on that gray granite paper and not over the bumps of the other paper layers. I have a folder of all scraps of paper, and I pulled this light green that I'm adding now from that folder. I'm not sure what color it is, but there's definitely shades of it in that top pumpkin paper. I'm also planning to use this flourish stamp set. As you can see that there's flourishes in the different spots on like of the pumpkin stems. There's little curls and flourishes. So I think it is fitting to add it to the background of my embellishment clusters. So I'm just going to decide where I'm going to put it. I'm using Sahara Sand. It's an old in color from Stampin' Up. And I'm just going to push things out of the way and stamp it underneath there. I'd like a few of these in each embellishment cluster, and if you'd like to try this, my recommendation is to use a color that isn't very different than your background color the first few times you try it, because it's so subtle that even if you make a little mistake, it looks like it could be on purpose because it looks a little distressed. And because it's right on the background, it adds another layer right to the background. Then there's the layer on top of paper glued to the background, and then there's the popped up layer. If you're enjoying this video, I'd love it if you hit that thumbs up button, and please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you. Here is the finished layout, and I have a fun story to tell you at the end. Remember I told you this is a funny picture because our eyes were like tearing from the sun that we were looking into. Well, there's a large shadow across the picture. You can probably see it. It's just like this. I took care of it a little bit on a photo editing app, but you can still see it. So I decided to try ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to take the shadow out of the photo, and I've hidden the pictures back here. This is the first picture I got back from ChatGPT. So that doesn't really look like us to me. Hope it's focusing. And so we laughed. I texted this picture to Alicia and we laughed about it. So I thought, well, it's artificial intelligence. It's usually good at this stuff. So I said to ChatGPT, can you please try again and take the shadow, the diagonal shadow, which you see right here in the background out from behind us. And this is what ChatGPT came up with. So this doesn't even look like us. I don't know, it maybe thought I said, make us different people. But anyways, I texted both these pictures to my friend Alicia and we laughed our butts off. And so I figured they had to make an appearance. So this can't go down any farther because I've placed a little piece of, you know, the edge pieces, the edge pieces that come off of here. I've placed that down at the bottom here and I've glued on either side. So when you tuck this in here, it can't disappear down in there. So you'll just have to reach in from the top of the page protector. So the strings are kind of long so you can grab it. But if you don't like that, you can also cut a little slit in your page protector and then have this tuck into the slit. So that works as well. People do that. So I'll give you a close-up now of the layout. I did add some of those motifs. These are from the Beautiful Gallery collection. And this came from that stamp set that had this leaf. And I've stamped in the background here just a little bit with my swirly stamp, as you saw. So any swirly stamp would do for that, or even something else, like just some texture, some checkery stamp or splatters would work. Oh, that one's coming out of there. I added some journaling on the bottom. I also curled up my pieces of string here and glued them down. I just add a piece of glue or some liquid glue in a twirl, and then I follow it with the string. It's a bit finicky. You do need a little paper piercing tool or a pin to kind of put it in place, or it just sticks to your fingers. And then I added a little bit of string just here and here just to tie it in. And of course I have some up top here. And I added these little bits. So I did a little bit off camera here, the finicky stuff, but hopefully you enjoyed watching this layout come together. This is a personal favorite of mine. I like most of my layouts, well, all of my layouts I like, but sometimes you just love one, and I really love this one. For another fall video, click right here. See you next time. Bye.